and I'm pretty sure we'll have many, many more. But yeah, maybe if it's useful and for context, I'll give 1 minute background on myself, and then we can jump into the rest. So we have a new fund based in London that we set up at the beginning of last year called 6 Degrees Capital. We focus on early stage investing in B2B software and fintech. We have a 100 million fund, so we do check sizes of around 1 to 5 million in first instance, and then we do up to 15 million in follow-on capital thereafter. Our mandate is 70% UK and Europe and 30% rest of the world, and can be quite flexible with that. So, but yeah, I would love to hear about what you're doing with Cold, and hear more about your background as well and how come you started it. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So my background, I'll go back 10 years. I was the head of marketing at Plug and Play Tech Center. That's how I know Bob.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I joined that company about 15 people, and we grew it to about 500 plus by the time I was there. We grew the revenue from 150K to about 125 million ARR. And we did that by verticalizing startup accelerators and having corporate innovation. I'm pretty sure you know of it.
Of course, yeah.
I was building out our proprietary technology as well and implementing all of our systems, so our sales enablement, productivity suite, CRM, and saw firsthand how horrible and how much friction there was around it. And with 500 salespeople distributed across the world, it is even worse. So it's always
if I can just jump in, what was the main issue there? Was it more interoperability of data, so data being siloed, or was it more the collaboration between the different sales individuals and people that was difficult to maintain and manage?
All of the above and more. So I think one of the main issues is really like, why do I need to use a CRM? I have my Gmail, right? And I think that's never actually been solved. And there's incumbents coming in now that have raised lots of money, like Attio, that are doing a great job. So that's fantastic to see. And that is what Cold needs in order to be successful too, is newcomers innovating in spaces where there's friction, right? My next role was actually at golden.com, which is A16.
Yep. Yeah.
60 million raise. We recently had an acquisition by CompliAdvantage. I was the head of design there and pretty influential on the sort of enterprise product suite. And then again, it was the beast of data, canonical data, structured data, and the issues around that. And we try to solve quite a lot of use cases around enrichment in CRMs, but also in VCs looking to dig in masses of information and making it easier for them. And so now that we've been acquired, I'm bringing some of the best talent with me.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, build. We've already started building it. And now we're obviously raising the pre-seed. We're having upward pressure. We weren't raising as much as we are now, but we're now raising 1.5 to 2 million.
Okay.
At about 10 post.
Okay.
And so it's going well. The data room's being put together now, so we're actually trying to close everything up.
Brilliant. And a few questions. I mean, on the product side as well, which more because you mentioned, players like Attio, right? I guess you will be built above, right? I think the way I understand it, at least, is you're almost like the interoperability layer that allows all data from all your different systems to feed into one, and you can operate it as if you only need to use your Gmail as a CRM. Yep. Now, how many different companies like Attio do you need to be developed over time? Do you think that's the bottleneck? Is it the fact that Attio is only one of, not enough that are providing structured data? Like, where do you see the technical bottleneck from a data point of view? Because everyone talks about siloed data and systems and whatnot. So, what do you think your key bottlenecks will be to scale? Because from a product point of view, it seems very intuitive. Okay, Cold will be the great layer, the core system that you can use, and everything else with the bottom-up data feeders.
Yeah, so it's a great question. I'd love to pull up the demo just so that we could talk.
Yeah, would love it.
Talk while we discuss these intricacies. But
and also, the key ROI from using Cold, is it time saving? Is it making sure that you don't lose track on different issues? How are you thinking about people engaging with it?
Yeah, exactly. So essentially, our goal, vision-wise, is really to save you about 2 to 4 hours a day of busy work. Sorry, I've lost the Google Meet now. Yeah, 2 to 4 hours a day of busy work, because there is so much repetitive tasks that we do on a daily basis, whether you're on a sort of front of house job title, you know, where you're talking to people every day. There's so much context switching. There's just so much, so a bloated amount of tools that we use, and we add new ones, you know, maybe once a year, twice a year, right? Because we're always seeing innovation in these different sort of niches. And you know, our go-to-market strategy is really simple. It's to go to sales reps who spend 70% of their time on non-revenue generating activity, which is just crazy. And a lot of that is due to the context switching, the lack of having things right in front of them at the point of action or decision. And that's where we think there is a massive gap where we can create a complete bridging of productivity. The second part of our go-to-market is founders, early stage founders who are doing sales, early sales, but also doing fundraising, which is very similar to sales, and also doing hiring, which is again quite similar to sales. And there's a lot of back and forth and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So our focus, just to go back to your question, when it comes to sort of this nebula of data or this your own sort of data graph, is that we think there are some core pieces to the puzzle that are creating this context switching too much, right? So let me pull up here. So like in this instance, right, let's say I've got Gmail, I've got LinkedIn, I've maybe got Salesforce or HubSpot or Attio, whatever it might be. I've got Rewatch, Zoom, I even have Google Meet, and I have Slack. So most people, most founders will have that at their disposal, and will have decided those things just because they're sort of leaders in the space, right? So that automatically gives us a set of basically a set of data about that person, but also about their sort of network, right? So in the sort of first MVP and prototype, it will be very much single player. So our focus is not really going to be like, how do we untangle this siloing of data? We do have plans to do down the road. We have a ton of things which I can go into, but we probably don't have time.
Yeah, at a later time.
Yeah. But here right now is an instance in my feed of a call I had yesterday with Maddie. This is Rewatch being sort of included in my Zoom conversation. So it's annotated everything. It's giving me a highlight reel. So instead of me going to my Gmail going like, what did me and Maddie do? When was it? Oh, let me check my calendar. Let me go to my notes. Let me go do this. Let me go look at Rewatch. I can watch the highlight reel, or I can just see here, okay, she explicitly mentioned that she wants a deck. She wants a 7-day free trial. We were talking about an acquisition, and Maddie was impressed. So there's some sentiment analysis there. Let's say I want to dig in a bit more, get some CRM insight. Okay, this is my lead. Oh, there's some news out there about Perplexity that happened yesterday. This is coming from third-party data vendors. Okay, I could talk about the Perplexity Publisher program. It looks like they're in talks with Nike. They're going after Google. That could be an interesting talking point. That could take me another 2 to 3 minutes if I really wanted to make this very personalized. So I'm just going to follow up. I've met already. System writes it for me using Claude LLM. It's pulled out the key notes. So attaching the client deck. Here's the deck. 7-day trials ready from whenever you're ready. And it looks like.
By the way, phenomenal design. It looks incredibly smooth and clean.
Thank you. Yeah, that's sort of my wheelhouse. So I appreciate that a lot. So suggestions are being pulled in from sort of this nebula of data. You know, this is probably Sales Navigator on LinkedIn. Congratulations on your promo. I could click that. System will write me a nicety about them getting a promo, but I'm just going to send it. So all in all, this could have taken me 8 to 20 minutes if I was really being thorough, and it's taken me 10 seconds, and I'm on to the next one.
And maybe just a few questions around how, because just cognizant that we're running out of time, around how you're thinking about distribution, go-to-market, and then pricing as well. I'm assuming you obviously want this to be adopted within the entire organization to improve collaboration effects and whatnot. So how are you thinking about pricing and go-to-market?
Absolutely. Yeah. So reason why we're going for sales reps and founders is that, one, we can grow with founders. So we need to get single player right really good in the beginning. So that by the time they grow, these seed and Series A and pre-seed founders grow into sales teams of 10, we'll have the multiplayer aspect. So we'll catch up with that, and we'll be a forcing function for that. 65,000 founders at pre and seed just applied to Y Combinator. So that is our target. And we'll be using our network of angels and investors to get to those quickly. And then the other side of the coin is sales reps. So that'll just be cold outreach, using our own tool to see if it works, and getting those onboarded too. So there should be roughly 10 to 20,000 salespeople a year being hired into C, Series A, Series B. Pricing model, we want to be slightly premium because we think that if we give you back 4 hours of time, it's a no-brainer, especially
it's very valuable
for those two archetypes specifically. And so, we'd be pricing it roughly. This is our sort of early idea, is about $9.99 a month, but we'll need to do a bit more price discovery over the sort of like alpha testing and stuff like that.
Okay, brilliant. No, brilliant. Very exciting. I mean, if you have, I'd be keen to learn more, and also happy to help you onwards. I have a few kind of consumer and productivity investors that come to mind that are straddle the US and Europe, that could be interested in this type of product at a pre-seed. So would be more than happy to help you get in touch with them as well, if of interest, of course.
Of course.
And then I would love to use it myself. So if you have kind of an early demo or kind of a beta testing environment that's open, then would more than happy to provide feedback, but also see if it's useful for myself.
Yeah, so we're basically right now compiling what we're calling the Alpha 100, which is 100 people. So I'll definitely add you to it, and then when we start opening up more, it'll give you like 3 invites to then go and invite more people in and get the ball rolling.
And because I saw that you have kind of an early access wait list. How many have you, because you're still in stealth, how many have you, out of curiosity, how many users have you registered on your wait list?
We haven't done any sort of marketing push yet, so I think it's roughly like 80 to 100.
Okay.
It's like very minimal, like nothing.
Yeah.
So we've sort of been pretty stealth so far, so I don't expect much there, but that's just there just in case we can capture someone.
Yeah, of course. I mean, good to have it inbuilt already, right? So brilliant. Well, thanks a lot, because I just realized we're out of time. So thanks a lot. But it would be great to follow up separately as well, and happy to meet in person as well in London if you're around in the coming weeks.
Let's do it. Sounds great. It was great to meet you, man.
Likewise, and we'll speak soon.
Cool.